Amigos de iRock, aquí tenemos una nueva video entrevista con un tremendo músico que ha venido a Chile como parte de Porcupine y hace unos pocos días estuvo con Steven Wilson. Pero él tiene una gran carrera solista y muchos proyectos en sus más de 15 años de carrera. De hecho, acaba de sacar un disco, un EP llamado My Summer Holiday. Estamos con Don Randy McStine. Hi Randy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Well, how does this new music born?
Well, basically, I came home from the first leg of Stephen Wilson's review tour. We did Europe and the UK from like April to mid-June. And I came home and just kind of started experimenting in my studio. I knew that I wanted to incorporate some new sounds, and just try things. So a buddy of mine had this late 70s Roland drum machine that I was interested in checking out. So I brought that in and I kind of let that be the first, thing to maybe set the foundation for experimenting with. And that became first a song called Try to Hide, and then I used it again on another song called Drift. And, in both cases, it just kind of set me up in a direction to think outside the box of a more traditional rock band approach, so it changed the guitar sounds I was going for and the keyboard ideas that I wanted to try. And then in turn, the melodies that I came up with. So it was a very fun and experimental period while I was home, resting until the next tour, which started at the beginning of September.
Okay. Well, and not having other artists in this record is an artistic decision or is for practical reasons?
Artistic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love working with other people. I mean I tend to usually gravitate towards drummers because they bring something very unique. And as much as I like to play drums, I'm nowhere near the caliber of the people that I work with. The other instruments, I feel like I can express myself very well with what I want to do. So most of the time, it'll be myself and a guest drummer. In this case, since I wasn't going in that direction, I decided to keep everything in-house.
Okay. And well, do you feel like this work is a continuation of another of your albums or ideas, or is something completely new?
I think naturally it's a continuation. I can hear, where I'm somewhat picking up where I left off with my last full-length solo record, which was called Mutual Hallucinations. I put it out in November of 2024. I think a lot of the atmospheric elements of this, kind of start on that record, but I'm also using some different instruments that I didn't have then, for one. So I mean, that's naturally going to be different. Um, but I've just gone a little bit deeper with in my opinion with some of the arrangements of these sounds and also some of the melodies and things that I'm doing on this. That those things feel very different to me. Specifically, the song Drift really feels like that's from another place. That is something I want to kind of, you know, I want to go in that territory some more and see what's there. But when I started writing that one, I really felt like that was something quite different for me.
Okay. And well, my summer holiday is available only in Bandcamp. Is it gonna be another platform? Is some kind of statement this decision?
Well, it's a good question. Is it a statement? Look, there's no it's no secret, especially I don't know what you see where you are, but there's a lot of talk these days about some of the major streaming platforms, which are not only are they not particularly artist friendly, but they're starting to get involved in things beyond the music industry that are let's say morally questionable. and you're starting to see more artists kind of, pull their material for these reasons. I I've been I've had my music on Bandcamp pretty much since that platform was started, and I think it's a great way to stay connected with fans who really believe in what you're doing and who want to see you succeed in ways that are, I think, much more personal than, the sort of general streaming site. So it doesn't mean that it won't eventually end up elsewhere. I'm sure I'll put it on some other things, but for now, it made sense to me to just kind of keep it personal, and I can kind of keep track of who's coming and going, and I just think that it's a more direct connection to the fans.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, I understand. Well, um, you mentioned about this record, a continuous interest in the fretless bass. Why and where does that come from?
Well, for one, I mean, I love playing bass in general. I always
Okay.
pretty much always play on my records, and the fretless is one of those things that I've always kind of been fascinated with, as a listener. Jaco Pastorius is an obvious one, but like Mick Karn is probably my favorite, one of my favorite bass players from the band Japan. Um, and Percy Jones from Brand X, Pino Palladino. Like, what I love about the fretless bass is that it's so expressive and not it's very different, but not too dissimilar to how I think about playing slide guitar. These are instruments that you can get into very vocal like phrasing and the way you can express the notes, and I just love that. So I've just found myself as of late just gravitating towards it more, and I really just love that mode of expression.
Great. Well, what things have changed in you after playing with Steven Wilson in solo career and with Porcupine Tree?
Oh wow. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different things to consider. I think one, just on a professional level, it just makes you elevate your abilities, and that's within everything. That's being a professional, as a bandmate, as a performer, as just being a person, a good person on the road to be around, all of those things. But musically, I just think that it's allowed me to be in a space where I can really get better at, you know, very fine details. Something that is very much evident, I think, to anybody who is a fan of Steven's music, whether it's with Porcupine Tree or as a solo artist, is his attention to detail. And I think that's something that we definitely both share. We both have that in common. We both have similar tastes, and that was the case before I started working with him. But in the past 3 years, because we've been working closely, on these various projects, it's given me a greater appreciation for not only the detail that he puts into the music or they put into the music, but how I can apply that naturally with my things too. It's just opened up my ears and eyes to more possibilities.
Great. Well, and I know now you're very busy with this tour, but are you gonna play with playing these two last records, or is not a main concern to you?
Well, it's something that now that the Stevens tour is winding down, we have like 9 shows left and then the tour's over. Um, it's something that I'm thinking more about for next year. I don't have anything planned at the moment beyond I'm going to be playing on something called Cruise to the Edge, which is a progressive rock
Yeah.
festival. And I will be there as Randy McStine, so that will
Okay.
give me an opportunity to decide how I want to approach that. Because as you know, you saw me play solo opening for the Pineapple Thief,
Yeah.
so I'll probably incorporate some of that approach, but also I would like to do something that's band oriented, because obviously I play differently when I have, a band around me, but it also allows the material to you know, you can do a lot more with it than just by yourself. So what I imagine is some kind of hybrid of the two for Cruise to the Edge, and then I would love to try to do something, some more tour dates or something around that, if possible.
Okay, that would be great. And well, do you absorb influences or ideas playing in the different projects?
Can you ask that
If
question
you
one more time?
absorb like any influences or ideas when you are playing with other musicians, with other projects?
Oh yeah, yeah, I think so. I think just naturally, the more time you spend with a particular musician in any situation, because it's communication, right? It's like you're having a conversation, but it's through music. And the way I play with one person is going to be sometimes dramatically different with somebody else, depending on what that conversation is. And I think putting yourself in different musical situations with different players, especially if the players are, really great, and in many cases, in my experiences, I think much better than myself. That kind of allows it, well, not just allows, but forces you to be the best, version of yourself, and maybe even pull things out of you that you didn't know you could do. I've had that experience many times. So yeah, I think that's a great way to continue to grow.
Right. Well, is there anything new with McStine and Miniman?
Not at the moment. We put out our album 3 earlier this year. We're both very, very proud of the record. I think we're just at a point where after making 3 albums, we need to sort of sit down and decide how we want to move forward. Are we happy to just continue making records when we feel like it, and the music is enough, or do we want to put a band together and go out there and try to play some shows? So I think we would both like to do all of it. It's just a matter of getting it together and seeing how we can move it forward.
Thank you so much. It's been really, really great. So have a nice day.
You too.